from the top, correct? Let's see. Alrighty. I'm ready if you are, Michaela.
I'm ready.
All right. Take two. We are back, not live this time, but we are rolling with tech challenges as they come, and I think we're doing a great job at it. So welcome everyone to tonight's installment of our Ocean Steward Spotlight. Huge thank you, Michaela, for being with us here tonight, joining to share some of your work and wisdom. I am broadcasting tonight from my home in Washington, D.C., which is situated within the ancestral lands of the indigenous people of the Potomac and Anacostia River watersheds and the Chesapeake Bay. Before we begin, I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge and ground in gratitude for the land and water stewardship of the Nacotchtank, the Piscataway Conoy, and other indigenous peoples who have historically cared for this region and continue to do so today. My name is Caroline. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the field campaigns manager for Oceana in the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast here at Oceana. Our Ocean Steward Spotlight series is a virtual program through which we highlight fellow ocean stewards and their work in the hopes of connecting ocean lovers with stories that are important, inspiring, or resonate with them, so we can deepen and strengthen our movement to protect the oceans. I am so delighted to welcome and introduce our Ocean Steward Spotlight for tonight, Michaela Harrison. Michaela is a Washington, D.C. native whose career is rooted in relaying the healing, transformational power of music through song. She is a performer, composer, sound healer, and advocate. She began singing in the Baptist Church at age 5, and since then has performed nationally and internationally as a soloist and with various bands and musical collectives. Over the last 4 years, Michaela has been singing to and with humpback whales off the coast of Brazil and elsewhere as part of her project Whale Whispering, which I am so excited to talk to you tonight, Michaela. So first, can I ask what pronouns you use?
She, her.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And diving right in, getting to know you, this is a question that we ask of all of our panelists on this program. Can you tell us about a defining moment where you fell in love with the ocean?
Yes. So I'll share it again. For those of you who were watching live and are tuning in again, you'll get to hear this story again. And it's just more ocean magic. I don't have an end to my story of ocean magic, but this is one worth telling twice in a row. When I was 21, I was in Kenya doing study abroad. And we spent some time on the island of Lamu off the coast of northern Kenya. And during that time took a sailboat trip around the ocean, visiting several local islands over the course of, 5-6 days, and traveled for, like 20 hours at a time some days. So I spent my first night at sea during that trip, and I was on the open sea out of sight of land for the first time, and had a moment that I remember so distinctly. I was 21, so this is 30 years ago now. Just distinctly remember being like, if I die right now, I'm so good. Like, I was just that. It was a peace, it was a joy, it was a fulfillment, and just a sense of like everything being right with the world that I had never experienced before. And I knew that the ocean was my place. And then the sun went down and the moon came up, and it was a full moon, and I got to see, the moon rising out of the water from eye level with the horizon, and it was just the most astonishingly beautiful thing I had ever seen. And then it was like, it just kept building, like it was like, not, I was like, are you sold yet? Just to be sure. And then it was the phosphorescent algae. So like every time, once it got dark, every time a wave hit the boat, there was just this explosion of stars in the water. And I was like, what is that? And they were like, oh, it's the algae, it's phosphorescent algae. And I was like, you have got to be kidding me. This is, how come nobody told me? Be 21 and I didn't know about this. So that was definitely, I mean, I had always loved the ocean. I had always loved the water in general, but that I would say was a defining moment for me.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds incredible. It really just kept going, which is beautiful. And I was able to see the bioluminescence in the ocean for the first time a couple years ago, and it was just mind blowing. It's just spectacular. So, good answer. Thank you so much. And so next I wanted to talk a little bit about your work with whale whispering. And first I pulled a short quote from your website, the whale whispering website, that I thought was a really good kind of intro before we dive in. So if it's okay, I'll go ahead and read that. The whales are speaking in the language we all understand, to quote Stevie Wonder, music. I am among those who are listening and am compelled to combine my songs, which are seasoned by the songs of my ancestors, with theirs, which are seasoned by the songs of their ancestors as well as mine. We sing songs together, the whales and I, come together on the open sea to share them, and invite the world to listen and watch and sing along. And we will throw the link up to your website later in the program so folks can go and read that for themselves. But yeah, so from what I understand, it sounds like whale whispering was both a personal calling and a pretty organic convergence of a lot of the different aspects of your work, singing and performing, composing, engaging with and advocating for the ocean and whales, personal and collective healing, all of those things. Can you share a little bit about the Whale Whispering Project and what you might be working on right now?
Yes, so it's a very multi-layered project. I guess on the most macro level, it is about glorifying these magnificent animals, you know, and bringing attention to just how brilliant and sentient and powerful they are, and how important it is to not only support their continued living as a species, but obviously their habitat, which is the ocean that we all depend on. And by extension, waters in general and the environment in general. And it's about interspecies connection and communication, and through the, it's always been a part of my life. I've always been an animal whisperer. Through that, exploring the oneness of being, of all beings. It is about co-creating with the whales, listening to them and feeling into the sounds that they create and the vibrations that they emit, and listening for messages that I combine with my songs, my sounds, my inspiration to co-create music that is about our relationship with water, our relationships to each other, and that is intended to bring healing to the waters, to humankind, to the earth itself, to all beings. And then on a more personal level, it is about connecting to the ancestral memory that the whales carry of the witnessing of the Middle Passage and the arrival of, you know, ships full of captive Africans in the Americas. And in my understanding that has come from this work, you know, the Africans who traveled on those ships heard the whale songs from the belly of the ship. And the whales heard the Africans' songs as they sang out and as they cried out from the ships. And so there's an exchange that happened that was musical, that was tonal, that was sound-based. And I hear in the whale songs a record of that journey. And so part of it is also digging into those sounds to connect with those songs that helped my ancestors make it across those waters. And, you know, those sounds that they incorporated, which are the whale songs, into what would eventually evolve into the various musics that, you know, came from Africans in the Americas, including the blues. So it is multi-layered, but the general overall intention is healing, is to create songs that are healing and to share them. And there's also a documentary project attached to it. There's also a performance piece attached to it. There's also community outreach piece attached to it with children in the community where the project is based in Praia do Forte. And yeah, there's lots of different ways that it has expanded beyond what I initially understood it to be when I started it 3.5 years ago. So it's definitely taken on a life of its own.
That is so incredible. I thank you for sharing all of that. And I want to be really explicit too, and just to paint a picture for viewers who aren't familiar with your work. At the heart of this is you going out on the water and engaging musically with sound with whales that you have gotten to know over the last couple of years.
Yes.
Which is incredible. I mean, what a unique experience for anyone to have. And yeah, I think I asked yesterday, this is veering off the script a little bit, but about the experience of singing with whales and how that compares to singing with humans. If I think we have time, if you don't mind talking about that for a minute or two.
Yeah, I mean, there is a blog entry that I wrote about that experience actually and comparing it to singing a gospel choir. And so I think the two are parallel for me in terms of just the most powerful musical experiences that I've had, because singing in a gospel choir it's such intensity of emotion, of musicality, of listening, of exchange. It is like the reason that you're there in a gospel choir is to be the portal for the sanctification of the space, for the sacred to be present in the space, you know. And the experience that I've had singing with whales has been divine. It's been this transportive experience of feeling connected to something much greater and conscious of being a part of something much greater. So not only is connecting to them and singing with them giving me and everyone present when it happens that experience, but it's also a visceral awareness of their clarity about the fact that they're relaying that, and they're just profoundly sensitive and attuned and wise and compassionate and gentle and amazing. And so that intensity relates for me to what I've experienced in singing with a gospel choir, because it's that same fullness, that richness, that deepness, that power that is generated by so many voices together.
Yeah, awesome. And so whale whispering is primarily working off the coast of Brazil, but you also recently spent some time off the coast of Georgia here in the US. Can you talk a little bit about that work?
Yeah, so that's one of the things that I mean when I say that it's, taken on a life of its own and it's grown far beyond what I initially understood to be. Now I understand it's all the whales, it's the dolphins too. Like everybody wants in on the action and I'm here for it. I was invited to participate in Whale Week by our dear friend Paulita. Um, and that participation was sponsored by the Susie King Taylor Women's Ecological Institute, which is based in Savannah. And shout out to dear friend Hermina Glasshill, who's the director over there, and brought together a collective of Black women from that region who are who at that time were inaugurating their activities as a group of water stewards and environmental stewards in the region and coming together to do ocean cleanup on Jekyll Island. And so I joined them in creating ritual for the inauguration of the group's activities and doing the beach cleanup and then a trip out on the waters, which involved connecting with dolphins and singing to the waters, and shared some of the whale whispering songs with them, and sharing some of the many prophetic excerpts from Alexis Pauline Gumbs' work, Undrowned, which I recommend that everybody connect with. Undrowned by Alexis Pauline Gumbs, Black Feminist Lessons from Marine Mammals. She was very pivotal in helping me raise funds to get back to Brazil, to continue work on the project a few years ago. So that evolved into work with an anti-nuclear organization down in Georgia as well. And so now I'm plugged into the North Atlantic right whales, which are our most endangered whales in this part of the world. And I have been profoundly moved by not only the mobilization of the people in the region in Southeast Georgia and North Florida around supporting the survival of the whales, but also this energetic force of the whales themselves. And so while I was there, I definitely, I felt them, I felt their presence, and I connected with them in a way that's like, okay, now I can never not have the Atlantic right whales be a part of this story that's being told through whale whispering.
That's incredible. Yeah, I would love to someday see a North Atlantic right whale. I've been whale watching a couple times off our Atlantic coast here, but never seen a North Atlantic right whale because they are so rare. And I would encourage any of our viewers who want to get involved in Whale Week or Oceana's campaign to save the North Atlantic right whale, or any of the other multitudinous campaigns, good folks out there working to protect this whale. We can help you get involved. And I think that also brings me to another question that I'm going to do a quick time check.
Okay.
I think we're good. Yeah, for our viewers who might want to take action to do something to protect the ocean, who maybe don't know what steps they can take, do you have anything you'd like to share?
Well, I think, there are the obvious, maybe not so obvious to everybody, but Oceana is one of the organizations through which you can plug into various campaigns. There's always petitions going around that can be signed that need signatures for various issues related to ocean conservation. That's a layer. And then obviously, again, I'll not say obviously because it's not obvious necessarily, but supporting legislation that is protective of oceans from, looking at the type of equipment that industrial and individual fisher people use, in terms of fishing lines, lobster traps, those kinds of things that may affect the lives of marine animals, fishing nets, and ocean pollution, any kind of legislation, and engaging directly with legislators to let them know that it's important to you, as a constituent, on the political level, and then on the local and personal level. I would say the most important thing is to engage with your heart, engage with your heart when you are interacting with the waters, when you are in community with people interacting with the waters. Collective community cleanup, collective community care of local waters. Everyone is an ocean steward. Everyone is a water steward. We all depend on the water. And so this must be something that we each take as our personal responsibility. And that's why some of the songs of the project are specifically focused on like tuning people in to water, and like reminding people to pay attention to water and acknowledge water. And so, and then one of the first messages that came through when I started this work with the whales, and I just sat and I asked them, what is it that you want me to relay? The big one, it was, y'all got to get off the oil. You've got to get off the oil. And so everything related to reducing our dependence on oil in terms of transportation, in terms of plastics, and cleaning up the damage that has been done to the oceans and continues to be done via oil spills, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And sing to water, that was one of the other big messages from the whales, is that we need to be singing to water collectively and individually. And this is not something new. Indigenous people all over the world have been singing to water in community since forever, but because so much of society has moved away from Indigenous knowledge, it's not happening en masse as it used to. And that was one of their big messages, that singing to the water is a way of healing the water, is a way of supporting the water's strength and recovery. And so that's a real basic, simple thing that everybody can do from the heart.
Absolutely. I love that so much, because I think those of us who have been professionally doing this kind of stuff for a long time, we're very in our heads. It's thinking intellectually, and of course, all of that is critical, but I think we miss out sometimes on a lot of the other ways that people can show up to work to defend our oceans and to reestablish a connection. I think you said follow your heart, or leading from your heart in your advocacy, which, yeah, it's just so important. And while we are, let's see, yeah, we have a couple minutes left. And Michaela, if you are willing, we would love to hear a song, if you would like to do that.
Yeah, I'd love to share a song. Okay, we have about 5 minutes, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think there's time to share two. One of them they're both relatively short. So the first one is on the theme of what I just talked about, and it is a song that's designed to remind people to tune into water. Salute water, respect water, give thanks for water, protect water, salute water, respect water, Protect water, be conscious of water, yield like water, rise like water, be healed by water, sing to water, oh me, oh water, shine like water, be free like water, conserve water, share water, champion water, take care of water, conserve water, share water, champion water, take care of water, take care of water, take care of water, take care of water. Okay, and the other one I'll do real quick. I want to do this one because it is a direct download from one of the North Atlantic right whales, who is on a postcard that I received when I was down in Georgia, whose name is Smoke. And this song came as a message from Smoke that Smoke wanted to share with people. So it's called Smoke Signal. And it's from the perspective of Smoke, who's a North Atlantic right whale who has birthed several calves. Are you the ones who will decide whether or not we live? I want to speak to the ones who will decide whether or not we can give birth to our babies in safe waters, free from entanglement and inadvertent slaughter. Are you the ones who will decide if we live? We've done our best to show the way with the road map of our scars, telling you the shipping traffic, fishing nets, trap lines, and pollution have gone too far. How can we keep the carbon cycle intact if you continue to ignore the simple fact that we're as crucial to this planet as you are? Open your hearts as you consider our ongoing plight. It's possible that a callous choice will leave you with regret in hindsight. We're not the only ones in danger, just the first domino to fall, unless you change your way of determining which way forward is right.
That was really powerful. Thank you so much for sharing both of those songs with us, Michaela. What a treat.
Thank you.
Yeah, truly just so grateful. And I think that that's probably a good place to end our conversation. I, again, cannot thank you enough for sharing all of your work, all of your wisdom, and those two beautiful songs with us. I think we have some slides for folks before we go. Yeah, so we shared this on the live that we did earlier. Also wanted to put it up here so folks can go to michaelaharrison.org, your website. And there's also, once you go there, there's a whole section on the Whale Whispering Project. And on that section, the Whale Whispering page, if you scroll all the way down, there's a link to the GoFundMe for Whale Whispering. So folks can give if they're able. Definitely encourage folks to do that. And yeah, for sure. Michaela, I look forward to staying in touch and continuing to work with you on protecting North Atlantic right whales and all of the other oceans work that we may be able to collaborate on. Do you have any parting words for folks before we jump off?
Yes, I encourage folks to listen to the water, listen to the ocean, listen to the songs of whales, and connect with water as the force that connects all of us. If we can all tune into water as what unifies us as a life-giving force, we can improve our not only our stewardship of the planet and the oceans, but our caretaking of ourselves and each other.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Michaela, for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. Absolutely. And for folks tuning in, we're going to be speaking with Representative Juanita Fisher of the Maryland State House of Representatives on May 13th, 6 p.m. Facebook Live again. And yeah, we look forward to seeing folks again for our next Ocean Steward Spotlight. Take care. I think